I used to spend the night in hotel parking lots. What was I gonna do? I ain't had nowhere to stay, so I lived in the car. I had $35. And I said, come on, God, man, I've been trying to make this dream come true. You done left me out here like this. And I was crying so hard that he just said, I didn't like hear a voice or nothing, but he spoke to me in Harvey. He said, if you get up, I'm gonna take you places you ain't never been. Now I was finna quit. So I said, skip it. I'm gonna quit anyway. So I got in my car, I went to a payphone, and I was gonna call my dad. You remember back in the day where you could punch in a code and call your answering machine and get your messages? So I called and I punched in the code and it said, doop. He said, hey Steve, this is Chuck Sutton with Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of you. You're very funny. If you could get here Sunday night, we'd love to put you on television. Call me back, let me know if you can make it. So I hung the phone up, I'm crushed, because my whole dream of being on TV, and I couldn't get to New York. I got $35. How I'm gonna get to New York? I can't make it. So I'm standing there at the phone booth and tears just coming down my face. I said, God, so that must be a sign for me to go home. Cause this it, I ain't even got the money to go to the Apollo. My whole thing, wanting to be on TV, I couldn't even make the dream come true. This is the most messed up moment. And so I said, man, let me call this dude back and see if he said this Sunday. Because maybe he said next Sunday and I could hustle up a little bit of money or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but let me just call him back. So I called him back. Steve, this is Chuck Sutton, Showtime at the Apollo. We saw a tape of yours. You're very, very funny. Look, we have an opening Sunday night at Showtime at the Apollo. If you can make it, we'd love to put you on TV. I said, it's this Sunday. Before I hit the button, I heard, doop, you have another message. Now, it wasn't there before. So I punched my code in, I listened to the second message. It said, Steve Harvey, this is Tom Sobel from the Comedy Caravan. This was a Thursday. He said, I have a gig in Jacksonville, Florida on Friday night that pays $150. If you can get there Friday night, you'll make $150. So I called him back and I said, hey Tom, did you get a gig away? He said, no, it's still available. He said, can you get there? I said, I'm in Pensacola, Florida. I'm 3.5 hours away. So I drive to Jacksonville, Florida, and that night I made the 150. The club owner said, man, you funnier than the guy we hired. If you stay tomorrow night, I'm gonna give you another $150. So now I got $300 now. So I get on the phone, I call Chuck Sutton. I say, hey man, is the gig still available at Showtime at the Apollo? He said, yeah, we got one opening left. I said, I'll be there. So I called Eastern Airlines, who used to be open back then. They had a special for $99 going from Jacksonville, Florida to New York round trip. So I parked my car at the airport. I got it. Got on plane, flew. I wrote this whole joke about this dude's eyeball talking. And when the punch came, and all this here, the Apollo, man, they went crazy. They lost their mind. I got a standing ovation, man. I walked off stage, man, just started crying. I couldn't believe it. And they paid me. I made $750 for being on TV for one night. I'd never made $750 telling jokes in one night. And that was my turn back moment. See, in your life, everybody has a turn back moment. You have a moment where you could go forward or you can give up. But the thing you have to keep in mind before you give up is that if you give up, the guarantee is it will never happen. That's the guarantee of quitting, that it will never happen, no way under the sun. The only way the possibility remains that it can happen is if you never give up no matter what. Because God is always coming. He's never too late. At your worst moment, look, man, when they told me I had to be in New York, I saw no way I could get there. But that God, though, he make the phone ring. I end up in Florida, I make $300. Then I go to New York, I make $750. Almost got $1,000.
My relationship wasn't going good. I left her the house, the best car. I took the used car down the hill, a couple $100 in my pocket. There's $500,000 sitting there. My partner flew in from Hawaii, Paul, that's where he and his girlfriend lived, because he wanted some bucks. He was on his last dollars too, and he was a little older than I was. It never came in. The money never came. And the guy said, sorry, last minute change of mind. He gave us all the reasons as to why. So there we were, zero. We started Paul Mitchell with $350 each. I lived in the back of my car. And there's a good little film to watch. It's called Good Fortune. How in life you could start with little to nothing. You could be homeless, you could be fired from multi-jobs, which I was, by the way, and you can still succeed if you believe in yourself, help people along the way, no matter how bad the circumstances are.
Man, what was it for you that like shifted, that made you really realize that like, okay, I got to take my destiny into my own hands?
Right. So being homeless, I had so many different experiences being homeless, right? So I was pretty popular in high school, but when you're homeless, you're not able to shower like you want to. Like I was still trying to make it to classes, you know. I went from being the cool kid with the cool kicks, with the fresh cut, to being the smelly guy, the guy without, you know, and you really learn how people change, or the people that truly rock with you. Mm-hmm. Like I was speaking at St. John's earlier today, and I was like, the people that you think really support you, rock with you, aren't gonna be there when times really, really, really hit rock bottom. So it was my first time learning at a very young age. Some of us don't learn this really until adulthood. Learn that how fickle people are, mm-hmm. and how, you know, you only have a really small circle of true supporters during the rough times. And then, you know, seeing like the most compassion of someone sharing their food, their last bit of food with you when you're hungry, right? To, I was living outside of like a broken down car, to someone busting the windows in the car. So I kept all of my belongings in this car, and having somebody bust the windows in that car in the middle of winter to steal the stuff, like steal my stuff. That's all I had. Wow. You know? And so you go through these highs and these lows where it's like, man, like that was like one of the like most like rock bottom moments, you know, when I was homeless, when someone broke into my car and stole my stuff. Sometimes as entrepreneurs, like for those people that are sitting out there right now, that are sitting in their cubicle or working their dead-end job, and you're like, I hate this shit, like I want to get out of here, right? A lot of us, it takes this moment of like, we just get pushed. Sometimes you shouldn't have to wait for that moment to get pushed, because if you're truly unhappy, or you truly feel that you have something to give to the world, something bigger for yourself, just do it now, right? Don't wait. For me, I got pushed into that moment, right? And I was like, you know what? I want to start a company. And so I started this company, and it, you know, I didn't have the money to build the technology for the company. I had to bootstrap it. So I just started throwing parties. I realized that, you know, people that were 21 and up had clubs and bars, and people under 18 had, you know, team parties and stuff like that. But there wasn't a place for people to party like if you were 18, 19, and 20. And so I started just throwing these events, man. The first event I threw, I had -$6 in my bank account. -6, right? The venue plus the DJ plus security was gonna, I think it was like $800, $900 hole that I was in. If that party didn't pop off, but I went back to what I knew, and that was marketing, right? And so the party goes off, you know, I profit, I think like $1,100 or something like that. And it was like the most money I've ever made in my life, right? And so I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do this. It's like businesses is about finding like repeatable, scalable things that you can continue to do, right? And so I did that, and I was able to use that money to pay 2 guys that I met my freshman year at Virginia Tech to build this technology for me. And, you know, we were able to build it into a successful company, and was able to sell that company 2 years later for a nice amount of money. So that completely changed my life. And what I tell people, my first company is always the most interesting, because once you do the first company and you make some money, it becomes so much easier to bootstrap after that first company. A lot of times you got to find side hustles or whatever you can to make that money to build it.